Hi, Charlie! So, Charlie wanted me to make a vid talking about Superman. This will probably be of no interest to anybody but her. I watched a documentary called The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened, and it talks about the whole process that Tim Burton underwent with Warner Brothers to make Superman Lives, and at the end of it you come out like, why didn't they make this movie? But one of the things that they did and they talked about was, I think good comic book movies are all doing, is they are taking apart the characters, looking to see what the core thing about this character is, and then bringing that to the movie. So they're faithful to the source material without being like a retelling of the source material, because that's why the comic books are amazing. In the production footage of Superman Lives, there's this awesome footage of Nicolas Cage and Tim Burton just riffing on what it means to be Clark Kent and to be this alien. He's not just strange, he is actually alien, and this guy doesn't know what he is. He wears Mickey Mouse t-shirts unironically because he's just this happy little alien. Charlie wanted me to like do the same thing, take apart Superman and put him back together, and what I would do with him, with that character. And some of it is a little bit of Batman too, because I like Batman. So what do we know about Superman? The first thing you know about Superman is that he's also Clark Kent. And it's not like any other superhero that I know of. Superman is Clark Kent, period. Last son of Krypton. Even the clones of him are Clark Kent clones. That identity is solid. It is the same person. It's not two different aspects. It's like, you don't have the whole two-sided coin like you have, like Bruce Wayne is the playboy and Batman is the serious person, and Batman is the real persona versus Bruce Wayne, which is the real mask. You don't have that really with Superman. Clark Kent is just as much of a do-gooder as Superman is. Most of the iterations of Superman, he doesn't know he's an alien. He finds out he's an alien. He is raised in the American heartland. He is American. He finds out that he's not. Superman gets his power from the sun. Superman is a reporter. He is a reporter for the Daily Planet specifically. Clark Kent wears glasses. I mentioned it a little bit. Clark Kent is unironically heroic. Superman is a good guy, and he is not an anti-hero in any way, shape, or form. He's not sarcastic about good things. He has a sense of humor, but he is not an inherently cynical character. So that's the basics. Like if you ask anybody on the street about Superman, that and a bunch about Lois Lane. So if you're going to deconstruct Superman, you have to ask why. He's not landing in the 40s and 50s. He's gonna land now. What does that mean? If you're doing a Superman in his 20s, he's a millennial. If he's a millennial raised in Kansas in the heartland of the US, why is he a reporter? Why is he so optimistic, almost too naive about things? What is it about him that makes him that way? And, why does he wear the glasses? He wears the glasses as Clark Kent. Why? He's wearing the glasses as Clark Kent a little bit before he decides to become Superman, and he needs to hide anything. Does he need to hide? In the era of social media, if you're putting a Superman in his 20s, does he hide? Does he hide that he's Superman from his nearest and dearest? Is Superman really more of his Twitter handle than it is an actual character? What do you do with that? Okay, Kryptonians get power from the sun. And what does that mean? Well, it might mean that instead of the way human beings have an evolutionary ancestor that crawled its way out of the ocean, Kryptonians might have an evolutionary ancestor that crawled its way from a jungle. It might be a little bit more plant-based. Embrace that lock with photosynthesis. I'm not saying he's a plant now. I wouldn't go Swamp Thing with him. The ability to get your energy directly from the sun without having to go through all the middlemen that we do. Something has to consume the sun's energy, and then we have to consume what that was, or consume the thing that consumed that thing. Krypton seems to have eliminated that. What does that mean? Well, For us, because we are hunter and prey, fear is a big part of the human psychological makeup. And there's a reason why we fear the dark. There's a reason why we fear the unknown. It's an evolutionary survival trait. The cynical and the distrust and don't trust the thing that looks too good, that's part of our survival instinct. And Superman doesn't have that. He needs the sun. So to Superman, he needs things that are light. He needs things that are good. And whether or not Krypton equated good with light, bad with dark, or whether that's something he picked up from being raised in the US, I don't know. But he's got it. And I think that's part of why, where you talk about how he's an unironic hero and he is very optimistic, that's part of it. Superman is very much black and white. Does this provide light and goodness? It is a good thing. It is always a good thing. Is this taking away light? Then it is always bad. And it's not that he's stupid. It's not that he doesn't get that there are things in between. But it's not his first recognition of it. He's like, you know, why? Why do you have to make it so complex? It's not telepathy, but he can hear your heart rate when you're talking to him. He can see your physical reactions to him. He's just genuinely hard to lie to, even about good things. Clark Kent did not believe in anything. He didn't believe in the Tooth Fairy, the Easter, none of it. Didn't believe in any of it. Because he could tell. He could tell even when you were trying to tell him a good story. It was just a story. He can tell. So I think because of that, he came down to Earth mid-90s. Son of the New Age. Which is the paranoia of the US has grown in recent years. The embracing of that generation of like the global social media. I think he does it. I think Clark Kent loves the internet because he's able on the internet because they aren't in front of him and he can't hear their heartbeat and he can't see all the physical stuff going on inside of them. The internet's like one of the few places this guy can talk to people like another human being. And even when he finds out he's not, I think he would still want that connection. This is where he's able to talk to people like a normal person. Because, like I said, he's not cynical, he's not ironic. I do think that Clark's sense of humor would be to take everything literal. To, like, absolutely refuse on the internet, absolutely refuse to understand sarcasm. Just to take everything literally. Like, for bonus, that would drive Batman up the wall. And, oh God, if he met the Joker would just be like, wait. No matter what I say, you're going to take it stay right here. I'm going to go get my book of puns. I'll be right back. Sorry, completely sidetracked. Sorry. So we were talking about Clark Kent on the internet. I think he would be a complete, utter nerd, especially when he finds out he's an alien. Humanity is looking to the stars. He would be a science nerd because he would want to go, find his people. Where did I come from? He would really like that. He would really love the internet. He would really love talking to people on the internet. I think he's the guy doing the cute overload Tumblr blogs. He's the one finding all the happy stories and isn't humanity the best thing ever kind of deal. I think when most people are like, oh my God, everybody's always on their phone, I think Clark Kent is like, silence bliss. I can actually hear my own thoughts instead of like all the weird crap that you guys do before you say anything. He would just love that about everybody. I post a tweet, other people react. It's a beautiful thing. He's already found out he's an alien. He's already done the Fortress of Solitude. Plus, you gotta call it the Fortress of Solitude because when Batman finds out about it, he's gonna be like, Fortress of Solitude. Fortress of Solitude. And Clark can be like, shut up, I was 17. Mr. Batcave. Sorry. That also ties into my Clark Kent wears glasses. He's an alien creature with heat vision and x-ray vision and everything has an LCD display and he inadvertently keeps blowing them out. So he wears clear glass, not to disguise himself in any way, shape, or form just because he's tired of melting everything around him. He never really has that awkward mutant phase that the X-Men sometimes go through. I would keep that. He can control his powers, but the low-level radiation coming out of his vision, that when he's focused on his phone too long, if he's not wearing his glasses, he's burning out little bits of his screen all the time. So he wears clear glass. He's getting his energy direct from the sun. He eats mostly a vegetarian, not because of any kind of vegan principle about it, just because cutting out that middleman. Plants are converting energy from the sun the same way he is, so he's eating more plant. He would actually not really like our kind of desserts because we have processed them to the point they are so far removed and they're refined sugars. I really don't think that they taste good to him. It's not that he won't eat it, it's just like he doesn't understand, like everybody's like raving about chocolate. Pumpkin. He absolutely gets the pumpkin thing. Some random thing in America you really only do once a year is just like, that's his chocolate. It just like knocks him out for 4 days. He's like, so yeah, he'd prefer raw veggies. Left him to his own devices. He's eating raw veggies. He's getting them straight from the homegrown farm because engineered plants tend to be in artificial sunlight, and he can taste the difference. And even though no other human actually could, he can taste the difference. Just there's something in there that he just knows that Clark Kent is like the accidental hipster. He wears the glasses. He's, you know, eating farm-grown, renewable food sources and things like that. And everybody accuses him of being hipster, and he doesn't know what that means. He just knows that this is what he needs. I think I'd make the Daily Planet something like the Daily Show. Perry White is that universe's version of Stephen Colbert, Jon Stewart. I think he's finding stories for Perry White to go on air. I don't think he's on air himself. He's the nerdy hipster in there. I would make comics a thing. So comic books exist in this universe, except they're all Marvel comics. And Clark Kent is the biggest fanboy ever over Steve Rogers' Captain America. That's his boy, man. That's it. That's what a hero is supposed to be. That is everything he strives for. You know, down to the slightly corny, outdated attitude of optimist and you know, truth, justice, the American way kind of. You know, I think that's where the Superman poses are coming from. He is unconsciously mimicking when he gets in that costume and he's like, I'm a superhero. This is how superheroes stand. And that would be why the Cape and the Flying throw him so much. It's because it's like, yeah, that Captain America doesn't fly. Why do I need to fly? I liked how Man of Steel did the flying. I'll just jump. Like, okay, that was weird. Let's try that again. Oh wait, I can float. I think the superhero thing is new. He's still figuring out how to save everyone. I think it's little things. I think right before the Fortress of Solitude. Oh, that's how he gets to the Fortress of Solitude. So at 17, dropped the alien bomb on him. He's a little bit reeling. He's graduating high school. He's not real sure what he's doing with his life. And now I'm not even from this planet. Oh my God. And he realizes he can literally save every dog in the state. And he does. Like all the strays everywhere. He can hear them. They're coming to the farm. And I think he probably gets busted for like hoarding or something, and they have to take him back, and he's all pouty. And that's why he goes off, I'm taking my crystal ship and I'm going to the Arctic. His emo high school grad phase was the Fortress of Solitude. And because his first instinct is not to look at somebody and think of a spectrum. His first instinct is to look at somebody and say, this is a good person, this is a bad person. When he meets somebody like Lex Luthor, who has charities and does all this great work, I think his first thing when he meets Lex is, this is a good person. And when Lex starts doing bad thing, he doesn't feel that it's his place. Superman is here to protect the planet from Zod. The flooding in the Mississippi, he's going to save those people. The petty criminals, it's not his place. He's not a god. That's the one thing with the Man of Steel. Got a little preachy, a little bit about a savior coming from above. Yeah, that doesn't interest me. He doesn't know what to do with criminals. Like I said, he's America. That's the police job. That's the Government's job. Why would I do that? I'm here to save people from the tornado. Clark is black, white, and Batman lives in that gigantic gap in the middle. If you're going to do anything with Superman, you got to pull him into that middle area. And I think Batman's the way to do it. Plus, Batman would be like, you cannot be that naive. You cannot honestly be that, oh my God, you are. How can you be that naive? Superman's all like, but people are awesome. And, you know, Batman's like, people killed my parents. And Superman's kind of, people were your parents. And that whole dynamic of, like, trying to find some sort of middle ground that they have in common would just be hilarious to me. It would veer very rapidly into the crack domain, I'm sorry to say. You gotta keep Batman older. I like the Ben Affleck age. I like the older statesman who has already gone through hell and high water. The Superman persona, in a lot of ways, is very much the ideal Robin. This precious little thing that always sees the light and must be protected at all costs. And I think that that's where Batman would end up. He would end up with Sam Winchester. You are a precious snowflake, too precious for this world. And because he's a Captain America fanboy, that so explains the color scheme of the Soup's costume. It's like he gets the costume, but he puts the Captain America color scheme on top of it, and it was actually supposed to be red, white, and blue, but the white turned yellow, and because some sort of weird reaction, and he's so upset that it's yellow. He embraces it after a while, but he's so upset that he couldn't just get like pure white on there. So those are my very, very rambly thoughts about Superman, and I hope this is anything remotely what you thought you were gonna get with this. You have to comment now, or you at least have to send me a Gmail. Bye! All good comic book movies do. R2-D2 has opinions about Superman. The remote control for R2-D2 is over there. I'd be worried, but it's R2-D2. I hope he could become sentient and comes to life. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Superman, I'm focused. And, R2 is just, like, losing his little mind up there. Is it because the light's hitting you? What are you doing?